What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Financier. Glad to see everybody online. Let me know where you're calling in from today. Love to connect. Say what's up. What's going on in the markets. This morning, we just released another edition of the Financier. So there's a lot to talk about: the vaccine, the new president, a lot more on the agenda. First up, if you had a chance to join the Punjabi Chamber of Commerce event yesterday, we hosted a terrific event with 4 industry panelists, experts, talking about the PPP stimulus plan. We'll be rolling out the FAQs and any other follow-ups very soon. I'll be hosting another event next Wednesday with Thai, New Jersey, to talk about the stimulus plan, the SBA, and the NJEDA. So what's going on with New Jersey, what grants, taxes, everything that's available. Hey, Dan, what's going on? Welcome. Thanks for joining in. New Jersey's offering tax credits, ways to sell your losses, grants, a lot of things. So a few people from the NJEDA will be joining in. Great ways to get involved. A lot more money is coming in for small businesses, and anybody else that needs it in this area, this time of COVID and everything. So this is a tough scenario. There's a lot more that will be rolled out. Be exciting. So without further ado, let's go straight into the Financier for this week. First up, President Biden has come in as of Wednesday. He's already enacted the Defense Production Act. There's a lot more going on. This is a wartime law. He's going to mobilize the country's assets to get supplies ready for vaccination. The last time we used this was during the Obama and the Trump administration. They both used it, but the first time we enacted this law was in 1950 during the Korean War. But we've gone from nuclear to now biowarfare. Trump used this for the agricultural supply to products and to increase production of N95 masks. Obama actually used this for telecom assets with the Chinese cyber attacks. So we'll see this happen in the next 100 days. President Biden is planning to increase supplies for vaccination. His goal is to vaccinate 100 million people in the first 100 days of his administration. That's still well short of the 300 plus million people that live in America today. So the vaccine system is the rollout is failing. It's first up is Texas. They're the first state to administer over 1 million doses. They had technology failures from day one. You have to remember the healthcare providers are not doctors, they're tech nerds. And the software systems, if they have incorrect or out of date patient data, the administrators may not be able to provide the first round of vaccines to the right patients. So they may have to maybe short on doses for the second round. So it's a problem right now. Even in Los Angeles, we're seeing they can't even inoculate the elderly at the current moment because they can only vaccinate about a quarter of their 800,000 healthcare workers. If you want to get vaccinated, I recommend checking out Vaccinesgov for the nearest location. In a wartime scenario, we can't wait. There's no chance to go home. This is a time to go as quickly as possible and to get as many people as you can. And today, there are too many disincentives in the system. For example, New York's rollout strategy is upside down. Governor Cuomo has put out $1 million fine for vaccine fraud, yet at the same time, he's fining hospitals $100,000 if they don't administer vaccine allocations, all of their vaccine allocations. This is a management issue on Cuomo's behalf. He believes these hospitals need to move faster, but I think it's a good example of poor politics. He wants something done so quickly that he's using fear to motivate the system. And $1 million fine is not necessary. Everyone needs to get vaccinated. So David Friedberg, the CEO of Metro Mile and a main guest on the All In podcast, proposed this vaccine delivery system designed for high-risk patients in the first 30 days. So anybody over the age of 65 will get high priority for the vaccine. And then he suggested that we provide nurses with big cash incentives to administer as many vaccines as possible. Today, America has over 3.8 million nurses. If we can get about 500,000 of them to work on this vaccine rollout plan, we'll get the job done in 90 days or less. So the problem with the vaccine rollout strategy is that vaccines, once they're outside of deep freeze, can spoil very quickly as the drug begins to degrade. Extra doses need to be given out, otherwise they go to waste. And I don't think we need to be tracking IDs or patients, since the only strategy is to get everyone vaccinated as quickly as possible. So all these create frictions. We've seen actually in Israel that they've been able to give out vaccines to every single person, no exceptions. That's why they're leading the charts. I think around 40% of their people have already been vaccinated since they've executed their plan. So we need to kill frictions. Unless it's a high-risk patient, no one else needs to be a priority. And then everyone needs to get vaccinated right after the first 30 days. All the disincentives that we have right now are killing Americans every day. Pharmacies also are front and center at this war. CVS, Walgreens, over 10,000 locations for CVS. They're around every corner in America. Every American has access to them, or at least a pharmacy. So brick and mortar can be a core competitive advantage for these companies. We could speed up vaccination delivery if we deliver it to these local pharmacies that's within walking distance of every American. Even the grocery store pharmacies like Kroger's are being asked to help with the rollout. And I just learned this week that Amazon, Uber, and Lyft are even chipping in for last mile delivery. The Lyft's executive team met with President Biden last month to discuss vaccine-related transportation funds, and Amazon is offering its warehouses to administer vaccines for 800,000 logistics workers. But what I also learned this week is that hospital systems have been going bankrupt this year. In 2020, we saw record healthcare bankruptcies. The same industry that's expected to help us win this battle. By October 2020, over 47 hospitals filed bankruptcy, and we're trying to figure out why this is happening. The critical infrastructure of America. It's really a combination of lower patient volumes, cancel elective procedures. It's a combination of less revenue and more expenses, which is really a recipe for disaster. Hospitals are now in a cash crunch, and even with $275 billion in stimulus and emergency loans, government hasn't been able to stave off these healthcare bankruptcies. And the American Hospital Association expects these losses to surpass $300 billion in 2020. And I think this will increase even in 2021. So there's a lot left. There's a lot unknown. There's a lot that hasn't been said right now. I'm reading something about that the next executive order, President Biden has already implemented about 17 on his first day. He's executing another one for public health supply chain. There are a lot of issues that are happening in this place that need to be taken care of. There's no way we can get this all done in the first 6 months to my plan. I think, Biden is ambitious of having vaccinated 100 million people in 100 days. That's very aggressive. I'd love to see that happen by the end of March, but I don't think it's possible until the April-May time period. And then to get the next 200 million, there'll probably be about 20% or more people that will not get vaccinated because they choose not to. There are a lot of people that will just wait until maybe the summer or when it's convenient for them. So it's really difficult to get out to market. Can't force everybody to do this. So there's a lot of unknowns. And the disease doesn't die if we don't get everyone vaccinated. It continues to be like the flu. There'll be mutations, different strains. There'll be a lot of different changes that happen over time. So we have to figure out a better strategy. We have to figure out how to do this in a much more improved process the second time around, because this won't be the last pandemic. There'll be a lot more concerns in the future. And if we can stave off, we can fix this, we can prevent these type of issues next time around. But we have been pretty well prepared from the supply chain issue. We have to ramp up more production, but we've had access. A lot of people have access to critical infrastructure if they're on the front line. It's definitely improved since last year. It's a learning process, but there's a lot more we can take away from this. So until then, see you next week. We're doing a couple interviews with a couple people live next week, so feel free to join in. Again, you can sign up for the Financier. Don't forget to subscribe. Check it out on LinkedIn or on the techfinancier.com. These videos are also streamed on YouTube, so you have access to them to watch them anytime. And you can check out the audio version on a podcast called the Capital Call Podcast at any point. Till then, I'll see everyone next week.